Hello to a TBI Uncovered. The Flapping Out allows traumatic brain injury survivors, those with brain injuries, brain conditions, the wheelchair community, caregivers, medical professionals, organizations, and anyone associated with brain injuries to share their stories and bring tips and resources to those impacted. On today's episode, I have Sarah, and she's from London, England. And so I'm going to bring her in. She's going to share her story and introduce herself and all those good things. So bring her in now. Hi, Sarah.
Hiya. Hi, thanks for having me.
How's it going?
Good, thank
you. Thank you for joining me. I'm so excited. I love you. I love English accents. I love English accents. I love it. I love it. I do. I want to come there one day. I really do.
Oh, you definitely should, yeah.
How's the weather over there?
Pardon?
How's the weather?
It's not great at the moment. It has been okay. We've had quite a lot of nice weather recently. It's been nice and sunny and quite warm, but today it's not very nice. It's been raining.
Yeah, it's raining out here too. So I'm in the U.S. in Missouri, so it's raining out here, and so it's cloudy, but it's all right. We're raining when the sun shines. So I want you to start off by introducing yourself and saying where you're from and tell your story.
Yeah, sure. So I'm Sarah, and I'm from the UK. I sort of live in the Midlands area, but I've also spent a lot of time down south in Bristol as well. So yeah, and I had a traumatic brain injury last June.
Following you said June?
Yeah, last June. Yeah.
What day in June?
It was the 30th of June.
30th of June, okay. My accident was June 1st, so that's only
June. Really? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I had it on the 30th of June last year. It was during a horse riding accident. I was out riding with my friend, and my horse unfortunately got scared by something, and bolted with me. And unfortunately, I got thrown and kind of dragged a little bit as well. So my head took pretty much all of the impact, unfortunately, and I sustained my brain injury. So yeah.
So did you fall off, or you said it bolted? So it went fast. So did you fall off? Did you go horses lift up? Did it raise his legs up, I guess legs, whatever you would call it? Did it lift up, raise up, or and he fell off back?
I think he just kind of sort of bolted, sort of ran off. But I think he might have stumbled a bit, tripped on something maybe, and I got unseated by that maybe. I think it's such a blur, the actual time is. I don't even remember exactly of what happened completely, but I ended up getting thrown and then dragged.
That's goodness gracious. Now, what was your life pre-traumatic brain injury?
Yeah, I was very active. I've always been doing horse riding. So yeah, and then I used to play quite a lot of sport. I used to play hockey and a little bit of netball as well. And I just started doing veterinary medicine. So yeah, I was doing quite a lot of the time before that. Yeah.
Okay. So when it happened, were you conscious, or because you said you don't remember much, but when you woke up, did you have a hospital? How long were you in the hospital?
So I was, when I was I was unconscious for most of the time. I don't really have memory from it, but obviously this is all that I've been told. But yeah, I was unconscious for most of it. So basically, I was slightly conscious at times. and obviously was taken to hospital. But they actually put me in the paramedic. Well, the doctor came out to me with the paramedics, and put me in an induced coma before they even took me to the hospital.
Oh wow!
So because I think they were just quite worried, and thought that it was. They obviously thought it's best to do that. Yeah. So, and then I was taken to the hospital, and underwent like scans and everything, and they found out exactly and then was in intensive care for about a month. I stayed asleep in the coma for about 3 weeks, and then once I was awake and able to leave intensive care, I moved on to sort of a rehabilitation ward, and I was there for a good, well, sort of few months, until I was a bit more, getting a bit better, and then moved to a hospital from there, and was then there for the next sort of 3 months. So in total, I was in hospital for about 6 months, I'd say, just under that. Yeah.
So were you able to like walk immediately, or did it like was like a process that you had to like learn how to walk and talk and stuff?
Yeah, it was very much a process of having to relearn how to do all of that. I had quite intense physiotherapy and speech and language therapy as well. So yeah, I had to sort of relearn how to that again. Yeah.
Yeah, the same thing for me, and I think ours was totally different. We both had traumatic brain injuries. With mine, I don't remember any. Well, up until the impact, I remember before the impact, but after the impact, like I didn't feel it. Thank God I didn't feel it. But it's just one of those things that even though we had the same type of injury, we're both affected differently. And so it was like, because I guess the parts where our brains were, the parts of our brain were impacted. So like mine, when I was shot in my head, I'm not sure if you know that already, but I was shot in my head. And so when the bullet went in my head, it shattered into little fragments. So they went like all over the place. So it went like to my vocal cord, my mobility cord, and just like all over. It spread all over. And so, but with yours, I'm not sure where exactly it was in the front or back, but I think it makes a difference though, depending on where you were impacted at. So how you recover and things like that.
Yeah. Mine was kind of, it was sort of, they said it was the temporal lobes, but it was sort of quite, it wasn't completely concentrated to that area. It was quite spread out, really. Really specifically just one area.
And I think your brain can. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if this is true or not, but maybe your brain like shifts a little bit. Like not when it's like struck. It's like oh, what's going on? Like it just like I feel like it shifts or something. I don't know. But it's the brain is an amazing organ. Like it does so many different things.
Yeah, it's so amazing.
So we have difficult moments. How do you get through them?
I'd say, I mean, I obviously have like my friends and family who have been so good and supportive, which has been super helpful. Like talking to them when I'm like having difficult times, even when I was in hospital. Obviously, I couldn't see them, but I was able to talk to them like on the phone or over video call during difficult times. Then I was able to, that helped me quite a lot. And now I'm at home, obviously I'm able to talk to them more face to face. And yeah, that definitely helps. And also I think it sounds crazy, but being back with the horses definitely helps me through difficult times as well. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you were in the hospital during COVID. Was
Yeah.
that because COVID? Yeah, no, wow, I couldn't imagine. Couldn't see anybody. So
No.
wow, get some FaceTime, get to see them, FaceTime or whatever. But oh my
Yeah. Yeah.
goodness, wow, wow, this is a whole different mind. It's a whole different story than itself. What's
Yeah.
what's one of your favorite recovery moments?
I think maybe I remember the first time that I properly like walked was probably
Okay.
one of the best ones.
Mhm.
And was actually maybe one of the my friend brought this one of my therapists from the hospital, the second hospital I was at. She
Mhm.
actually this was not long before I actually left the hospital. She had
Mhm.
a new puppy, and she put her outside to me, and
Oh.
I walked outside with one of the physiotherapists to go and meet her new puppy.
Mhm.
That was definitely
Oh.
because I was able to actually walk like far enough to go and see her. That was
Okay, that's nice. That's great. I love the the power moment. I call those power moments because they give
yeah.
you power and give you like they kind of rejuvenate you a little bit. So it gives you that extra boost that you need to keep pushing.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, yeah,
So hey, you always love horses. I love your videos. Like I love like I know I love horse. I love like I love how you are with horses. Like you just look so comfortable in your element. Like you look just so like you were made to ride a horse. Like it just I don't know. It just seems so. People are just made to do certain things. You're just so you're one of those people that's made to be an equestrian. So how have you always loved horses since you was a little girl, or tell us about that?
um, yeah. So I think I've always loved them really. So
Mhm.
when I started riding when I was about 10.
Okay.
Um, but before that, I still like really liked them. I used to always like
Hmm.
there was a field with horses in. I'd always want to go and like see them, with my grandparents and stuff. Um, and then yeah, when I started having riding lessons when I was about 10,
Okay.
I just loved. I really enjoyed doing that. And I mean, I've carried on literally ever since that. So
Mhm. Yeah, I
yeah,
know most little girls they want ponies and things like that. Like I want to, can I get a pony? Like so,
yeah.
do you have a pony or did you have you ever ridden a pony before? Or I thought I saw a picture or something when you are like a I don't know horses. I don't know all the types of horses like that, but I think one picture you get on like a pony to me. I'm not sure if it is a pony, but it looks like one.
Yeah. So
The,
since
the white one,
my
the white one or whatever, or the it's like it has like white little feet, like the little fur, I guess, or is that a pony?
yeah, so I mean, well, since my accident, I've been right.
Mm,
I rode it's quite a small
okay,
pony, yeah,
like a
and
small
then I
pony.
started doing a bigger horse after
Mm,
that.
okay,
Yeah, um, and I've now bought my own horse. I've got my own horse again now. Um,
okay.
so yeah.
Is it Nelly? Is that the first name Nelly? Is that
No,
your name?
so that's not that Nelly was the one that I used to ride
Okay,
before the horse that I've now bought. The horse that I've got now is Lucian.
Lucian.
Yeah, Lucian,
Okay,
yeah.
Lucian. Wow. Where'd you get the name from?
He was already called that when I bought
Oh,
him, so I
okay.
didn't actually name him, but it's
Yeah, you did.
quite an interesting name.
It is. It's not very
Yeah,
common. It's not very
yeah.
common. So did you name Nelly?
Yeah, so Nelly was the one that I rode quite a bit before I got Lucian. So yeah, she was really super, really like safe and gentle. She helped me like get my confidence back a lot.
And that's the brown horse, so I remember correctly.
Yeah,
It's a brown horse. Okay, so I know for some people when they get hurt, they don't want anything to do with whatever happened with. They don't want to if it was associated with it, they don't want to do with it. But for you, you're the opposite. So like I'm like this, she got a back on the horse. Like I don't care. So not saying you didn't care, but you didn't let that stop you. You still continue on with it because you love it that much. So where does that passion come from? Is it because you always love horses, or what get you to keep going like that? Like,
yeah, I think because obviously I've loved it for so long, and like it's my favorite thing. To not really imagine what I like what do to fill that gap almost. So yeah.
So when you first time you got back on the horse, how did it feel? Like was it like a exciting feeling? Was it like a I'm back? Like was it how was it? Explain that feeling, describe it.
I was really excited to get back on.
Okay. So you weren't scared.
Yeah.
You weren't afraid at all.
Yeah. I was like a little bit nervous, but I knew the pony that I started, I rode the first time and rode for quite a bit while after the first sort of month or a few months actually. He's so good and so safe. So and I knew him really well as well. So I trusted him. Yeah.
So when do you ride like a half hour, an hour, or what's your typical time frame you ride a horse?
Normally around about half an hour, I'd say.
Okay.
Yeah, really, yeah.
Okay. And you do it every day or like certain days?
Not usually every day. Normally about 3 times a week, depending on other things. Yeah.
So were your parents like kind of like? Were your parents like scared? Like I don't know if you should do it. Like were they like scared, or were they like very concerned about you riding again, or were they like go ahead?
Yeah, they were definitely a bit nervous about me riding again, but they knew that I would like really want to carry on doing it. So they were really supportive and
like unless people are like, I don't know, don't do it. Like, but I'm glad your parents were supportive behind you because they could see the like the love that you have for it. So I'm glad your parents were receptive to it versus like trying to keep you away from. Because I mean, I feel like they try to keep you away from it, probably make it worse. Like you get resentful. So I'm glad they did adjust to it. So how often so besides riding horses, what else have you done with your 2.0 chance, as I call it? I call you Jessica. I mean, sorry, Sarah 2.0. So you know your 2.0 chance of life.
What was that? Sorry.
What else have you done with your 2.0 chance of life? I know some of the stuff you do, so don't be bashful.
So since I've been back at home, I've been working quite a lot again. So I actually work at a monkey forest with monkeys, which is super, so much fun. So I'm going to be working all over the summer.
And so, but also you advocate for equestrian helmet safety.
Yeah,
so
I do.
Did you create your own?
Yeah, so I created my own Instagram account that promotes equestrian safety and mainly helmets. Obviously, because that's it sort of relates to my accident. And I've done quite a lot of different things with that. So obviously I've got my Instagram account, and I've done things with, there's a big company in, well, it's a big sort of, they do magazines in horse related magazines in the UK. They're called Horse and Hound. And I did quite a few different things with them to sort of help promote helmet safety. So yeah, I did a podcast, a few other little things that for people to watch and listen to.
That's beautiful. I love that. Advocating is so important because you don't know the importance of something until you are impacted by it, you know. Not that you didn't care. It's you just didn't think about it like, well, it wasn't a big deal because it didn't affect you. But now that it has, it's like you feel like you have more of a drive to help other people. So I love that. So tell me about your 168-mile walk challenge.
What is that? Sorry.
The fundraiser, your 168-mile walk.
Oh yeah. So so I'm doing 168 miles, which is basically because I was in hospital for 168 days in total. So I thought a mile a day would be a good target. So I'm sort of doing that over the next 6 months, in a sort of series of lots of different walks with different people's journey, so family. And yeah, it's been, I mean, so far, I mean, I'm on, I think I'm on 40 or 30 something miles.
Left, or you've done 40? You know how many now?
I've done something, I think something around about 35 to 40. I'm not sure exactly.
What you done so far?
That I've done so far. Yeah, it's been so much fun doing that. And yeah, so many people have really supported me. So yeah, it's been great.
So
I just want to try
do people contact you and say, I want to walk with you? Or how do people contact you and say, I want to join?
Yeah, so quite a lot of, I've had a few people who I didn't previously know, but people who have seen my story, who were also in the same hospital, well, not at the same time that I was there, but I've previously been in the same hospital on the same ward that I was on. So so the ward that I'm raising money for. So they've like asked if they could maybe do a walk with me. So I'm doing a few walks with other people who have like had similar accidents, I guess, which is really yeah.
I love it.
It's been great.
So how does someone become an equestrian?
So do you mean like how does somebody sort of get into riding, do you mean?
Yes.
Yeah. So I mean, I guess for me it was, I mean, it depends, like different people start it in different ways. So some people, I guess some people are born into it. And obviously if you're born into a family which is very much like horse oriented, like has horses, then I guess then you're quite likely to start to love it as well and do it quite a lot of it. And other people like me might sort of just, I know, either by seeing friends doing it or seeing it on some sort of media, like social media or on television or something, might decide like, that they'd like to get into it. And generally most people would start by having riding lessons. That's how I started. And I'd say it probably is one of the best ways to do it, because it's a good safe environment to start when you're a beginner, I guess, when you don't really know anything about riding. And then obviously once you progress and get more with it and better at it, then a lot of people would then go on to either buy their horse maybe, or sharing. Yeah, quite a few people do that.
So, what do you want others to know about wearing helmets? Like, how the importance of helmet safety during riding? Because I know I'm sure there's some people that don't wear helmets during horse riding. I'm sure there are people like that. But what's the importance besides having a brain job? What's the importance of wearing a helmet to advocate for it further?
I think it's just obviously. I think it's just that at the end of the day, it's a safe. It's kind of like it's just a safety equipment. So for example, it's similar to being in a car and not having a seatbelt on or anything like that. And yeah, like it's not like an uncomfortable thing. So
I think that's cute.
helmets
Actually,
are so well designed nowadays.
They're very fashionable. They're very fashionable. I love the little strap underneath it.
Yeah, you can get like really nice ones, and they've designed like nowadays they're so well designed so that they have like ventilation, and compared to say like 20 years ago when they were nothing like what they are today, and yeah, it can just like they literally can save your life in so many ways, and yeah, and I think a lot of people, I'd say the majority of people, if they're like properly riding, so are going out on a ride, do generally wear them. But it's more say if you don't have a helmet on and you might just get on your horse to sit on them, to not actually ride, but just sit on them without a helmet. Yeah, things like that. And the issues I think with that is that obviously horse still could get scared by something. So a bird could fly out of a hedge and scare the horse, and have the same accident to what I had, by just sitting on them. They're just the animals at the end of the day. Like they've got a mind of their own. So you don't know what they're gonna do. Even if it's a horse that you've had for years, trust them. You have to just still take all the precautions, because it's not worth not wearing at the end of the day.
I definitely agree with you about that. So what else do you want to accomplish?
I think, well, obviously I'm gonna carry on with all the helmet safety stuff, and carry on trying to promote all that, and then I hope that equestrian wise I'll with horses because now I've got my own horse, I'm gonna hopefully be doing quite a lot with him, and because he's quite a young horse, so I'm hopefully gonna sort of train him and get him doing more, and maybe in the future I'll be able to go out to competitions with him and do more. So that'll be super good. And I'm hopefully going to be, once the job that I'm doing at the moment is just a seasonal job over the summer, and then after I finish that, I'm hoping I'll get a full-time job, because by then I'll probably feel a bit more. I'll have a bit more. I'll recovered enough to work a bit more. And yeah, so hopefully by then I'll be ready to get into doing time work and just live my life.
That's right. So one more question. So what would you tell someone who's been through what you've been through, and what can help them overcome and get past their injury, or get past, and I'm gonna rephrase that. So what would you tell someone who had some injury to yours, and once is kind of apprehensive about going back to doing something that they love to doing, but they're like, I don't know if I want to, I should. What would you tell them?
I'd say that if you love it so much, then you definitely obviously should do. And with everything in life, there's always a risk. So
Yeah, it is. It's true.
So for example, if you had an injury like mine, but it happened by driving a car, then you're most likely going to get back in the car and drive, because a lot of people can't, will drive for everything really. And then, say if the injury was by just walking across the road and you just managed, and say you got hit by a car or something, like you can't go like your whole life. So I think literally accidents can happen by pretty much anything. So I think you just got to you take all the precautions for whatever you're doing and live life sensibly, but unless you're going to live a really sheltered life, I think you gotta just live it and
get out there again.
Yeah, exactly. There's going to be risks to everything, so as long as you're being sensible with it, then that's the best thing to do, I'd say. Yeah.
I agree. Well, I've enjoyed this interview. It's been so fun. I've learned quite a few things that I never before, and I think you're very encouraging, very inspiring, and I just thank you for just taking your time out to interview with me. I love sharing unique stories. I thought your story was very unique. I never met anyone who got hit in a equestrian accident, so that's very unique to me. So I appreciate you taking the time out, like I said, and talking with me and sharing your story with my audience, and just just bring more awareness, because it's needed. So I appreciate your time, and thank you.
That's okay. Thanks for having me.
Make sure follow Sarah on Instagram at brain_and_me. And yes, it's towards support and encourage her and root her on, and just let her know that she's an inspiration. So I thank y'all for tuning in. It's TBI Uncovered signing out. Bye. Sarah, you can hold on for a second. I'm gonna talk to you, whatever. But see y'all later.